Now that we covered Chapter 2 Sketching Basics, let's test your skills. What we have on the screen here is a 1 inch by 4 1/4 inch millwork casing. And what we want to do is recreate the profile for this casing. And as you can see, this profile consists of many lines and many tangent arcs. In fact, if we go to the Feature Manager tree and we edit the sketch and then view normal to the sketch, you will also notice the sketch consists of many relations along with several smart dimensions. Now, I would recommend that you view this sketch and try to recreate this on your own. And then if you have difficulty, return to this lesson and you can see how I step through it. But before we begin, to make it easier for you to recreate this profile, I save this profile as a PDF document. So you can open the PDF document as you create the profile in a new sketch in SolidWorks. Now, a couple things I want to point out before you go off on your own. Myself, I went into the line command and I started at the origin. I then worked in a clockwise direction. And if you recall, when you are in the line command, you can go back to the last point and the line will switch to an arc. So keep that in mind. I created this entire profile while in the line command. After I created the profile, I then sat back and looked at all of the automatic relations that were added. I was required to delete a few of them and then manually add the correct relations. Once all of the relations were taken care of, I then smart dimension it, and at that point, I had a fully defined sketch. So let's begin by creating a new part file, and then setting the units to inch, pound, second, and then creating a new sketch on the front plane. I'll start the sketch by going into the line command. And as you view the PDF document, be careful that you draw these lines around the approximate length that you see them dimensioned on the PDF sketch. So this one should be somewhere right around 1 inch long. Then I'll pull this one over to the right, approximately 1/2 inch. Let's zoom up a little bit. Draw a couple lines here. And remember, when you take your cursor away from the endpoint and then return it to the endpoint, it will transition to an arc. Do the same thing again. Zoom out. Draw the horizontal line, approximately 0.75 inches long, down vertically, a very short distance, and then horizontally. And then once again, go back to the arc, and then straight down to get the inference for the origin. And let's head back towards the origin. But first, we need to sketch a couple lines for this relief in the back of the millwork casing. And then back to 0, 0. I'm going to escape out of the line command. Now at this point, you want to sit back and take a look at the automatic relations that were applied. And then compare these against the PDF sketch. If there's any differences, you may be required to delete some of these automatic relations and manually add the correct ones based on the PDF sketch. So looking at the PDF sketch, along with my sketch in SolidWorks that you see on your screen, I am going to start at the origin and work in a clockwise direction to examine the relations. And notice it looks like everything's in place. I am missing a tangent relation between this arc and this line. So I'm going to hold down the Control key, select both of those entities, and then select Tangent in the Property Manager. Continuing on, I have Tangent, Tangent, and moving across, it looks like all of these applied correctly. And I have a horizontal, horizontal, so that looks good. And it looks like I have a coincident, perpendicular. Even though that does work for this situation, I'm going to go ahead and select that relation and then tap the delete key to remove it. We're going to control this angle with the smart dimension, as you can see in the PDF sketch. Going back to the origin, it looks like all of my relations look correct. However, I do have a couple relations here in the PDF sketch that I do need to add. So it looks like between this center point and this point, we should have a vertical relation. And we should also have a coincident relation between this point and this horizontal line. Now it appears that all of our relations match what you see on the PDF sketch. Next, I'm going to begin to smart dimension this. So I'm going to go to Smart Dimension, apply a dimension for 1 inch for the height, and I am going to kind of jump ahead a little bit and dimension this to 4.25. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've learned with practice or with experience that if you don't lock down the outside dimensions and you simply work, for example in this sketch, in a clockwise direction, when you begin to apply some of these smart dimensions, your geometry may do some funny stuff. So that's why I applied the 1 and the 4.25 to begin with. Continuing on, this should be 0.5. Looks like this radius here is 0.375. And looks like we have a linear distance of 0.125. So far, everything is looking great. I have a distance here, 1 inch radius, 0.75. And you can see based on one of those dimensions what happened to my geometry. We'll fix that when we get back around that side. 0.375 for this radius. Let's go ahead and fit this to the screen so we can see what's taking place here. 0.563. And notice my dimensions are rounding off to 2 places. That's because of the options. And if I want to take it out to 3 places, I simply click the drop-down list options. The options dialog box appears on the screen. Go to the Document Properties tab, Units, and change it to 3 places. Select OK, and the screen updates. Let's continue to apply our smart dimensions. Looks like I want an angle of 45 degrees. And we received an overdefined sketch error message. So we're going to have to go back and troubleshoot what happened here. After examining the PDF sketch, it appears that we should not have this relation here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And there we go. That corrected the problem. Going back to Smart Dimension, let's apply a 45-degree dimension to this side and a 0.063 height. Everything's looking good. And a 1-inch dimension here. And what we have is a fully defined sketch for the profile for the millwork casing.